That was so whack. I'm from New York City. I flew in from Washington, D.C. I keep hearing all this hype about Detroit and the Midwest. Oh, sure. Now I know with the appropriate prompt, y'all can show up. Okay, I appreciate that. But seriously, how we doing? All right now. You know when you go home and your parents are like, what you do? What you been up to? How you making money? And you're like, please don't ask me that question, right? And you wish you could just like crawl under the table on Thanksgiving and not have to talk to anybody. Well, imagine having to stand up on this stage and tell everybody what you do so they can actually vote for you. So what I need you to do is keep your energy way up when people are up here today, because it is a big leap of faith, courage, and trust in you that they are going to feel the love from this lovely Motor City as they're pitching through. So I hope you could do that for me, because right now that was a little lack. My name is Melissa Bradley. I am founder and managing partner of 1863 Ventures, and I am honored to be here in Detroit with you, and I welcome you to the HI-HERImpact Pitch Competition. We are honored to have a partnership with Ford Motor Company Fund, who's been supporting this for 5 years. And that's right, come on. Not too many people do a lot of things for 5 years. Hell, people can't even stay married for 5 years, so that's a real... That's like we made wood. Like, that's an anniversary landmark. You know what I'm saying? We're also honored to be here at Newlab, which I had never been to, but this is an amazing facility. So allow me to offer you my welcome for being here, and I want to pass it over next to Katie from Newlab to welcome you and share a little bit about the space. Do you have a microphone?
I do not.
Oh, let me stand close to you.
Stand together?
Here you go.
This is actually the highlight of my day.
Okay, there you go.
Hi, everyone. I am Katie Sovin. I'm from Newlab, and I was going to kick us off by saying how honored we are to have you all here. I know, Melissa. This is quite. Yeah. Thank you. I am honored for that moment. I am honored to be introduced by Melissa, and honored to be in a room of female founders and supporters of female founders. And Newlab is, I guess by way of an introduction, Newlab is a collection of entrepreneurs, inventors, creatives, artists that are all trying to realize a vision of a better future by building it, and that believe that you sort of have to build things in the real world in order to see them through. You have to like relentlessly question them and interrogate whether they are right for the world. You have to be thoughtful about what you are putting into the world. You have to be bringing into the conversation folks that are not historically in the conversation, and you need to be bringing innovation and new product into conversation with culture and community. And so everything that's happening this evening is sort of a dream for Newlab to be a part of. So thank you for all being here. And I think the biggest thank you goes to the finalists that I think we'll see all pitch in a few moments. I think we all are the beneficiaries of a more curious, sustainable, healthy, inclusive future that these women are building for us. So number one, thank you to these founders that are doing probably the hardest thing in the world by building something up against enormous challenges. Number two, I guess keep our number. Everyone in this room is sort of here to be relentlessly helpful to you, whether it's through funding or through community or through advice or partnership or infrastructure facilities like this. Like, we are here to make it a tiny bit easier for you to build the future that we get to live in. So thank you all for being here. Good luck to the finalists, and yeah, we'll see you all soon.
I Okay, I'm gonna keep this out of my shirt right now. Thank you so much, and this is truly an amazing space. I look forward to seeing what comes next, and we are honored to be here. Next up, I want to introduce Mary Culler, who runs the Ford Motor Company Fund, and look at that, she has her own microphone. That's what happens when you're in charge. Welcome, Mary, to the stage.
I didn't want you to get undressed again, so I got my own microphone.
Thank you.
But anyway, well, first of all, welcome. On behalf of the Ford Motor Company Fund, I couldn't be more thrilled to be here. And first of all, I agree. Welcome to our finalists. You all are so courageous, and we can't wait to hear your pitches. And welcome to the families who may be here in support of you, which is, of course, very important. I have to say that you're in a special city, and you're in a very special place. What's exciting is that you are in this building that is actually being underpinned by Ford Motor Company. This whole Michigan Central initiative is about startups and entrepreneurship. And so we have this long history of not only wanting to support entrepreneurs, but really thinking about how do we connect it to purpose. And as the Ford Fund and the philanthropic arm of the company, I couldn't be more proud of our 70-year history to help move people up. As we think about mobility as being not only about transportation, but about social and economic mobility as well. So when we think about women entrepreneurs and women startups, we know that, you don't have access to capital. You don't have access to the support that you need and deserve. And so we just want to have a small part in trying to help you with that. So really, it takes a village, as we all know. This is all about everybody. I just want to thank my team, who's really been working hard to bring this to life tonight. And I think, apart from the pitches that we're going to hear, which are going to be amazing and they're going to be inspiring, and for those of us who work in a corporate setting, we might just throw it all away and, start something. But, I couldn't be prouder to work for Ford because it's a purpose-driven company. And tonight, we're going to see your wonderful, innovations and businesses, and I can't wait to hear your pitches. So thrilled to be here. Thank you so much, and I hope we have a great night.
Thank you so much, Mary. So before we get started, I might have alluded to this, but I want to acknowledge this is not just your average pitch competition. This is not just a chance for you to hang out in Detroit in a cool spot, have some great alcohol and food. We're celebrating a 5-year anniversary. So for 5 years, Ford Motor Company has been traveling around the country supporting female social entrepreneurs. Now, hopefully you get the female part, right? We know that less than 1% of all venture capital goes to women, which is a damn shame because the majority of new businesses being started are by women, and post-COVID, particularly women of color. And so there's a huge market gap that has been served because of these 5 competitions. During this, Ford Motor Company has spent over $500,000 investing in women in their local communities. And typically what has happened is we kick off with a huge summit to help people understand that capitalism doesn't have to be bad, and that not only nonprofits have the capacity to do good, that there can be entrepreneurs who actually care about the common good, and we want to really support that. We also then spend time coaching and mentoring and making sure they can continue not just to get money and advice in the moment, but how do they really scale for longitudinal success? And then we end with a pitch competition. So this is a culmination of a lot of work in a lot of amazing cities, starting here in Detroit. Again, what? If I had been in DC or New York, we would have been hooping and hollering, but that's okay. Then we came to my spot, DC, where we rocked it. Yeah, I know, thank you. See, people know. Come on, Detroit. Then we had the privilege to go to Miami, which was amazing, and then Kansas City a couple of times. Kansas City got caught in COVID, so we had to do it online, and we had to do it in person. But what's important about this is it's not just Ford Motor Company and 1863 and even Newlab, but we partner with local universities to make sure that this is about investing in the local ecosystem as well so that this work can continue whether Ford is there or not, which I want to say is a huge success in thinking not just about the glamour and the glitz, but thinking about how do I actually support the work on the ground. So we're here now to have the best of those best come back and pitch. Now, this was relatively easy to get to. I was surprised. I had a whole movie queued up, and they were like, the flight is 1 hour and 2 minutes. I was like, well, I'm not going to get no movie in 1 hour and 2 minutes. So I just went ahead and took a nap. But what's going to happen here tonight is you're going to hear some amazing businesses. and they're going to get money at the end. You actually will decide who gets the audience prize of $5,000. Now, that's not chump change. That was a little whack. We didn't ask y'all for the donation. I mean, we could come out with a cup and say, you want to do better than that? Like, you know, come on with it. I had this brother Ferris who is with ICM, and I should say he agreed, I can say this publicly, that for all the winners, he and his firm will give free coaching. So we making stuff happen right here on the spot. Third place is $15,000, second place is $25,000, and first place is $50,000. I could buy a lot of sneakers with that. But obviously I'm biased because I've had the privilege to get to meet these women over 5 years, so I want to be sure to introduce our esteemed judges. We have Herb Drayton, who is the Executive Director of Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses here in Detroit. Thank you, Herb. We have Carolyn Casson, who is President and CEO of Michigan Women Forward, where this all started. Of course, we got to make sure somebody from Ford is doing their fiduciary duty and making sure there's no conflict or anything. We have Mike Schmidt, who's the Director of Economic Mobility and Global Community Development at Ford Motor Company Fund. And last but not least, we have Megan Ward, who is the model and appointed diplomatic speaker at the U.S. Embassy and owner of Homology. Thank you so much for being here. And I want to give a special thanks to Megan, no disrespect for the other judges, but if you're a founder in here, you know what it means when you step away from your business. So we truly appreciate you being here, making sure the entrepreneurs' voices are being heard. So are we ready? Yeah. Okay. These are the people that are pitching. As you can see, they represent all the places that we have come from, and they've spent a lot of time getting ready, but more importantly, they're here not because they were the best in terms of keeping in touch, or they were the best because they filled out an application. They were the best because they successfully leveraged those local competitions to take their businesses even farther, and so we're honored to have them here. Now, let me lay down the ground rules for y'all so you'll be getting rowdy and jumping up and in the process. So there's a clock up here. Each entrepreneur will have 3 minutes to pitch. Okay, so like don't be making a lot of noise because the clock is not going to stop just because you start cheering at your nephew, niece, or you want that product for your child. When they are done with 3 minutes, the judges will just jump right in. Somebody will take a turn and just start asking questions for 5 minutes. And then how they're going to determine who wins, because they're going to go off and do all their deliberations in a private secret location. First and foremost, we want to make sure that they're solving a problem. Business is great, but it's only successful if you solve a problem. And we want to raise that idea that you're actually solving a problem for the community. We also want to make sure of a sustainable business model that you actually are going to make more than just the $50,000 we're going to give you, and you have a potential to actually leverage that. We want to make sure that your product or service has some competitive advantages across what other people are doing, because we know a lot of people are trying to do the same thing. You have a capable team because we want to see you grow. We also understand the stress. People are parents, they've got kids, they've got partners or spouses. Sometimes they're more draining than the kids. And so it's really important that they have a team to be able to help them. And last but not least, they have evidence of market traction. So when you're listening, you may say they look fly, they may sound great, their stuff may be good, but this is what we'll be grading on, so don't be booing the judges at the end, okay? We talked about how much money they're gonna get, which is great. You know, we have to do the big check thing, so make sure you hoop and holler for that. And if there are no more questions so that we can stay on time, let me do one last thing, just so y'all know, because then maybe you'll act a little bit better. This event is being live streamed. Do not let the people at home be cheering louder than you, because that's just not a good look. Let me just tell you that right now. And so for those who are watching live stream, welcome, and we're glad to have you. Without further ado, I introduce Alicia and Deidre from Lab Draw. And they are a mission-driven STEAM company helping kids. And here's what's crazy. Not only helping other people's kids, they're about to help Alicia's own child, who is pregnant and joining us on the stage. So please welcome them.
So before we get started, we just wanted to say the importance of the HI-HERImpact Pitch Competition had on our business. It was actually the first pitch competition we ever did to launch the Lab Drawer, and it's also the first funding we won.
Absolutely. And so what we have been able to do with the funding is really make a difference in our community. We've been able to, actually, we're going to tell you a little bit more in our pitch about what we've been able to do, but we're just so excited to be here, and we're really excited to make more of a difference right here in Detroit. Awesome. Thank you.
I'm going to give the judges some boxes, and then we'll get this thing going. One for you to open the inside.
So I'm Dr. Alicia Gabriel.
And I'm Deirdre Roberson.
We
We
are
are scientists, Detroit natives, and founders of the Lab Drawer.
The Lab Drawer is a STEAM company, which is science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics. And we create STEAM experiences that are engaging and culturally relevant for kids. And we have over 20 years experience in education, the arts, and science. I have a PhD in chemistry with experience as an instructor and VP of operations. I'm a classically trained vocalist, actress, and dancer.
I have a master's degree in chemistry with a background in implementing tech and logistics. I'm a fashion designer and jewelry creator. So we created the Lab Drawer because 20 million middle school students are not receiving the adequate STEAM education required for their futures. Parents, educators, and youth-serving organizations have been searching for engaging ways to create innovative solutions for STEM learning. Now, we say STEAM instead of STEM because research shows that STEM and the arts work better together than apart. That's why we incorporate the visual, literary, and the performing arts, which differentiates us from our customers, along with the fact that our content is culturally relevant, celebrating diversity by highlighting Black and brown STEAM professionals, making learning not only relatable, but also inspiring.
The Lab Drawer is inspired by the look of a chemistry lab drawer in a classroom. Every kit is tech-enabled and includes a STEM experiment incorporated with the arts. The Lab Drawer also aligns to the next generation science standards, which are the standards used in schools across the country. And because our customers are school districts and youth-serving organizations, this means that our product is easily transferable to their classrooms and their programs.
It's no secret that there's a lack in STEM representation. And if we don't make sure we show up in these areas, we can't address the issues that affect our communities. That's why we must increase these numbers so that STEAM degrees are no longer accomplishments, but the standard. So what are we doing to help solve this problem?
The Lab Drawer provides access to STEAM education at your fingertips. Since inception, we've shipped over 30,000 kits to students in 7 countries, and at a cost of $35 each, and the students aren't the ones who paid for it. More importantly, 85% of those recipients are Black or brown. And our data indicates with a survey of over 5,000 students that there's an increase of 30% in knowledge attained when engaging with the Lab Drawer kit. So we've seen the impact that we can make in the world. But we are also a business. So we have to state that we are profitable with a 55% profit margin, and we are 100% bootstrapped right here in Detroit.
With the $50,000 grant, we use it to increase our capabilities, producing an additional 1,000 STEAM kits to reach more students. We invite you all on the journey to make sure all students have access to adequate STEAM education. Thank you.
Excellent pitch. Thank you, ladies. It was very amazing to hear the dynamics of a multifaceted business model. So my first question is, I want to know a bit more about the supply chain, B2B, B2C, what that looks like and what the strategy is for the next 12 months.
Awesome. So our main supply chain right now is B2B. Now, if you guys want to grab something for your little ones at home, you can go to the website. We still offer that. We used to be subscription-based, but we were getting more revenue and more footing working with large organizations and B2Bs, and plus the students don't have to pay for it, right? So our strategy, one of the things has happened, because we're both scientists, people were seeking us out to make sure that we can actually come in, teach students, but then they use us as a model and use our supplies to actually teach STEAM in the classroom. So with that strategy moving forward, now we have contracts right now with youth-serving organizations and some school districts across the country, but we actually have a few in the queue for the next 12 months as well, with some larger, we can't really tell who they are, but with some larger nonprofit organizations that can increase additional 6,000 units that we're selling in the next quarter.
Thank you.
So I remember when you were subscription, and you moved away from being subscription, and now you sell what percentage to school districts? What would you say?
So the school districts isn't a huge percentage, but our B2B is 95% of our business.
Are the school districts your ultimate goal? What, 12 months from now, 24 months from now, where would you like to be?
So ultimately, yes. So school districts absolutely are one of the places where we want to go, and we've been able to leverage some of those relationships. However, we are still supplying to youth-serving organizations, and there are hundreds of youth-serving organizations that are looking for and needing STEM and STEAM education, because we bring that technical expertise to their programs to prepare their students for the next jobs.
And just to add on to that, we would love to be in schools, but it's always the red tape, right? So we look at some of our competitors that are actually selling STEM supplies to schools. They're $600 million annual revenue. That is our ideal to grow a company, and we should be the ones supplying these schools as well. So that's something we're looking for. So if anybody has connections with getting us in those schools,
We are ready.
love that.
Which leads me to, I wanted to follow up a little bit on your competitive landscape. So how do you differentiate yourself? There's a lot of people out there that claim to be either in the STEM or STEAM field.
So one of the things we touched on in the pitch, which I think is the most important, is the cultural relevance, right? So they see people that look like them being scientists, being artists, that has changed the landscape of the way we think and the way we view the world. And that's one of the most things, because not only can they see themselves, they're inspired by that, and they think that they believe now that they can do that as well. That's the number one thing that sets us apart from our competitors. They don't even do that. And then the other thing is how we incorporate the arts in all the STEM experiments.
Absolutely. So we incorporate the visual, literary, and performing arts. We have kits where we incorporate poetry. We have kits that we're actually showing here where we actually, they teach and learn the chemistry behind making their own paints and painting their own beautiful picture on canvas. So we want to make sure that that is also a huge part of what we do and what we show to young people, because we're artists as well, even though we're technical in terms of our expertise.
And it makes us better scientists because of that.
And then let me follow up on that, if I could. How do you work in the schools with teachers? Are there rubrics for teachers to use and connect to standards? Or so I'm a teacher and I
Yes.
get this. How do I know how to use it?
Absolutely. So as we actually stated in our pitch, we actually align to the next generation science standards. Those standards are the standards that are used in science classrooms across the country. In fact, instructors have to use that standard. So what we have done with our lab drawer kits is actually we can provide the teacher or the instructor with a lesson plan that aligns directly to that next generation science standard. And that makes our product easily transferable. We even have testimonials of teachers and instructors telling us how helpful it was for them to have that lesson plan to implement in their classroom.
And we also work with them to curate lessons around something that they're working on. So you can come to us and tell us, I need a STEAM kit based around geology, anything, and we can kind of create it for them.
How do you know you're having an impact? How do you know that each one of those children that get this have learned something? Do you track them longitudinally and see if they're still interested in this?
Yes, we do. So not only do we track their knowledge attained, right? So what we've seen from over 5,000 students that we've surveyed is that there's an improvement in knowledge attained in terms of the kits by 30% on average. And in addition to that, we conducted another survey where actually 100% of the respondents actually stated that once they engage with a lab drawer kit, they then become more interested in STEAM careers. So we know that we're making an impact, and that also really kind of fuels us to continue doing the work that we're doing.
So go back to something that Megan asked you about, but I want you to go even a little deeper. So assuming that you are awarded one of the prizes, what's the very next thing you're going to do with the money that you might be awarded?
So the very next thing we're gonna do is tell one of the companies we have in the pipeline that we can actually supply them, and because they do require us to have a lot of the inventory up front. That will actually increase for that next quarter by 6,000 kits.
So inventory for 6,000 kids.
Yes.
And you make about 50% on each kit?
Yes. Especially when we bulk order all the supplies.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
I have one more. One more.
Go ahead.
I got questions.
Jump in.
So, one more question. Okay. So tell us a little bit too about the team that you have to support not only development of your products, but also, you know, production and selling and so forth. Because I know
Right.
it's not just you two, right?
No, but Dr. A actually does all the curriculum development in-house. We have a team of 4 that works with us from the production. Our production facility is based right here in Detroit. Our boxes are actually designed and shipped from the Michigan Box Company, so we do rely on the ecosystem here to make sure we can get access to our materials, so nothing stopped coming over from China. So we actually use this ecosystem and our team to actually help us produce. We can average right now about 3,000 kits a month.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you. I feel that the people online were louder than you. Let's try that one more time. Thank you. So what I'm going to do, just see if you're really paying attention, because there's going to be a quiz at the end. Every time I'm coming up here, I'm going to give you a fact, and I want you to hang on to that fact about something about the entrepreneurs that are on stage. Not about them personally. Don't worry, I'm not putting your stuff in the street. But here's a statistic. Did you know that African American entrepreneurs are responsible for 10% of the United States national GDP? Look at that, learn something new every damn day, don't you? But I think it's important because, let's be honest, right? There's a lot of people starting businesses out here, and folks always say, well, how come people of color and how come women? And I think the only way that we can start to change the narrative that people have of what entrepreneurs or what a successful entrepreneur looks like is if and only if we actually come back with data and facts. So I'm going to count that y'all are going to hang on to all of these. Okay, next up. Oh, okay. Okay, let me not mess up. Next up is somebody from DC, no bias, but feel free to give a round of applause. The company is called Femly, and they are a tech company addressing period poverty. Give it up for Ariane.
Before I start, I just want to go ahead and say thank you to everyone at Ford Fund, everyone with 1863, and tell you how awesome it is for this experience. Thank you for so much support. All right, I'll get into it. I'm Ariane Long, and I'm the founder and chief estrogen officer at Femly. At 26 years old, I was diagnosed with a tumor linked directly to chemicals in the pads and tampons that I was using. I didn't have access to anything healthier. And then I discovered that this is a reality that 80% of menstruators face. Because of that, the government passed 60 laws requiring pads and tampons in public restrooms at schools and government buildings. But we couldn't find equitable access. So we've developed a first-of-its-kind, patent-pending dispenser that allows you to walk up and wave hello to get free organic pads and tampons from the Femly brand. This dispenser is unique because unlike public faucets and soap dispensers, we are using sensors that actually work for all skin complexions. Not only that, through QR codes, we're providing AI health education. And selling these products is exactly how we've acquired more than 114 enterprise customers across the entire country. 90% of our customers purchase an annual subscription on a 60 to 90% profit margin, and our average order value ranges from $20K all the way up to $6 million. Facilities management drives $26 billion in industry. Though we can service a large majority of this, our goal is to obtain more than $500 million in revenue through meeting the demand here in the US and abroad, period. Raise your hand if you have ever heard of a company called Honey Pot, Kotex, Always, Core, or L. Femly's differentiator lies in the fact that we are the only minority and women certified company in the country, meeting the demand of restrooms while allowing consumers to follow on with purchases online and in-store. We make money by selling our dispensers on a per unit basis along with subscriptions of the products, and we are the feminine care provider for Hyatt, the YMCA, colleges like St. John's, we're working on Detroit Public Library, and even NFL stadiums. I have a background in health marketing and led strategy for a $5 billion managed care organization. My husband, our director of logistics, previously led supply chain at Southwest Airlines, and Marquita Gaston, our ops manager, is here tonight. She previously led ops at a fintech where she helped raise $35 million, but our world-class team will continue to grow with us. We've been featured in Forbes, Good Morning America. We were the 2022 Tech Company of the Year for Baltimore, Maryland, and Beyonce even funded us, y'all, but we're just getting started. Judges, what I want you to know is that of the companies presenting tonight, we have the only product required by 51% of the world, and we are now demanded by legislation. We have product market fit, scalability, traction, a unique differentiator, and IP. So the future is not only female, it's also family. We epitomize impact, and I hope that you'll scan to refer an organization. I'd love your questions.
So talk to me a little more about, you mentioned that addition to getting the free products, people can then buy other products once they purchase. How does that work?
So we started with the mission that matters, where we wanted to address the needs of people who couldn't afford feminine care while still making a kick-ass revenue model.
Exactly.
And so we started with our EcoFlow dispenser. We now have a manual dispenser, and then here we have our tabletop. We started with period care, but online, consumers have the capacity to buy additional products to support their cycle from first period to menopause. And we're also on shelves in CVS.
Thank you.
I love that you're in the space of femtech. It is a really, really new industry. However, I think you're not onto something, but you're in it. And you're, in a sense, becoming your own type of unicorn. You briefly touched on AI, artificial intelligence. I want to know what that looks like as your intellectual property and how that adds value to the overall company.
So what you guys have in front of you is a Femly organic pad and an organic tampon. And so on each product, there is a QR code that users can scan, but it's also on each and every dispenser. And we did that because I actually spent a month on life support a few weeks before we won DC's pitch, and I lost a daughter to stillbirth. And when I got off of life support, I found out that the loss was avoidable. But there were educational points that I didn't know, and I couldn't advocate for myself. So in addition to increasing the products, we allow people to unpack these health experiences they might not be getting from their physicians.
So we know what motivated you to get into this, and,
Yeah.
and I'm glad you did. But what's your background? Tell us about you and what,
Sure. So I'm originally from New York. I'm one of 6 siblings that were adopted by a grandma. And it's funny because, the reason we have Braille is because of my grandma. She sang with the world-famous Shirelles, and when she retired, she taught music to students who were blind. And so de-risking it, we figured that if you're visually impaired, you are at risk of toxic shock syndrome because you simply don't know how long to keep feminine products on. So the products have Braille, the dispenser has Braille, and we ended up in Baltimore because I started college at Morgan State when I was 15, and I met my husband the first day, and the rest is history.
thank you.
So tell us a little bit more about the traction that you have gained, not only in making the pads and tampons available for free, but also on your, your for-profit revenue model?
Yes, so we have scaled past 7 figures. And much of that, I was the only employee, but similar to the lab drawer, we started as a period subscription company, but we realized that we weren't able to support those people that couldn't afford. So we quickly switched to a B2B model where we sell these dispensers and the products to organizations like hospitals, hotels, and more. Because of that model, combined with legislation, we were able to get funding from Google for Startups. We have Beyonce and Pharrell as funders and more. And the other thing was we were able to refine our customer acquisition. So we're applicable. We're making sales without an RFP process, though the certification helps. The other thing is, with regard to hospitality and corporate workplaces, we're speaking to DEI, workplace inclusion, experiences, and more. So we assumed that our customer would be K through 12 schools that are required to have these products, but in fact, it's almost everyone else, and we're starting to kind of scale and lean into that.
Thank you.
Well, how's the pricing work in terms of, how's it compare?
Yeah, so we are very comparable to a stainless steel dispenser, but I like to think more sexier with better features. And so we sell our products from a range of anywhere from $100 all the way up to $600, and it depends on which product you get. But for the feminine care, they're sold in cases with 350 units. So Lab would tell us we have X amount of members, we X bathrooms with dispensers, and then we'd give them a quote based on the population here. Yes.
Okay, so I'll finish with the same question I asked the previous
Yes.
applicant. So what's your next step? What do you,
Oh my God. So we went viral on TikTok with 70 million views, and it brought 3,200 companies, and there were literally 4 of us. Right now, we have a team of 6, and we want to hire additional sales coordinators so that we have support for each customer vertical. So it's marketing, it's that new position, and then unlocking the next 500K over the next year.
Thank you.
I have a question about that. So with hiring this one sales development rep, what does that team look like expanding in the next year? Because you mentioned 3,200 companies. Is that one sales rep able to handle that type of bandwidth?
No, so right now we are segmenting our sales reps by vertical. So Christian is our sales rep specifically for colleges. This sales rep would be specifically for K through 12. Then we'll have one for hospitality and one for healthcare. So we're kind of focused, but meeting the demand of the market and the industry.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Who said women are stoppable? They were wrong. They were wrong. Okay, y'all ready for your next fact? Because y'all ain't taking no pens out. Y'all think I'm playing. So here's one, and I see a fair amount of men, so I want to acknowledge that you all came out to support as well. Don't let me burst your bubble. But we know that companies where women are at the helm perform better. But no surprise to us. But let me tell you how much, you're supposed to say how much better. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. So we have a 66% higher return on investment. We have a 3% higher return on equity, and we have 42% higher return on sales. So the next time somebody says, why am I investing in women? You say, not just because it's the right thing to do, it's the most profitable thing to do. So just some facts for you to take back with you. Okay, next up. Oh, see, I'm just messing up. I'm sorry. Okay. Next up, we have Lean Orb. They are a compostable packaging data product that is designed, they do compostable packaging to provide data to save the planet. Welcome, Anastasia. Hopefully I said that right.
Hello, beautiful people of Detroit. It's my first time in your city. I'm really excited to finally visit. And before I tell you what we had built in the last 7 years with Lean Orb, I want to tell you a bit of my personal story of what brought me to the stage tonight. So there's an ongoing conversation around what it takes to create a level playing field for men and women in business community. And in my personal belief and my personal experience, it's about us women versus perfectionism. Growing up in my household, it was normalized to sort of take perfectionism very serious. And it took me 30 plus years, I'm not even kidding, to learn how to get messy with my company, how to break things and put it back together. And I was also very fortunate that when I started my current company, I came across HI-HERImpact Pitch Competition and the network that was created then, which allowed me funding and it allowed me to meet mentors who continue to pushing me to deconstruct and reconstruct everything from product ideas, design ideas, old beliefs about me as a founder and my company in general. So I'm deeply honored to be here today and to continue learning from founders who are pitching tonight. And I'm really grateful that you're giving me an opportunity to share with you all how I sort of started my company, what inspired me to build Lean Orb. So my name is Anastasia, I'm the founder at Lean Orb, and we are in business to tackle single-use plastic pollution. Many food service brands today have to make pivotal choices on single-use plastic packaging that will not only define their image, but it's also going to determine their financial success. Because with 180 billion single-use plastics that is currently sent to the landfill, non-compliance and vague sustainability targets is no longer an option. And to address plastic pollution, we're building to-go packaging and catering supplies with measurable impact, offering the highest quality compostable materials, responsible manufacturing, as well as impact data that is helping our customers be more ambitious with their plastic reduction goals. In essence, we're not just a packaging provider, we are a comprehensive sustainability partner. Our products are made of bamboo, sugarcane, wheat straw, and banana leaf, offering reliable packaging solutions while eliminating bleaching and other toxic chemicals that are found in traditional packaging products. We have done a lot in a short period of time. We've eliminated more than 30 million single-use plastics from circulation in the state of Florida. We've achieved more than 50% annual growth rates and maintain a healthy 51% with our product margin. Our customers include Four Seasons, University of Miami, and Ultra Music Festival. In our client portfolio, you will find corporate brands and educational institutions, showcasing our commitment to securing high-profile names within our market. Let's talk about the market. Well, global and local governments all over the world are banning the sale and distribution of single-use plastics. So compostable packaging market is massive and ripe for destruction. In the last 3 years, we were able to integrate impact data and corporate education into our offering, which allowed to build deeper connection and trust with corporate brands, government agencies, and collaborate with science-driven environmental groups. We're sourcing our data internally through manufacturing and externally through our partnerships with local compost farmers who are actually taking our products in at the end of its life cycle. Although we have a nationwide reach, 90% of our clients are still in the state of Florida. We are working with decision makers, purchasing managers, and their marketing teams, whose goal is to meet sustainability targets related to smart packaging design. Through a thoughtful selection process, we are partnering with brands who not only meet our values, but who have the influence to change the global demand. Because our vision is not to merely meet the market needs, but to shape them. In our commitment to brand awareness, we are attending trade shows and creating various workshops on smart packaging technologies. We currently have 2 pricing models, one for our custom products and one for general items. And finally, I want to talk about everything that our team was able to accomplish up until now. Winning pitch competitions, securing fellowships, and we recently got a $50,000 grant from our local county for doing amazing work. So I'm extremely proud of our team. We have experience from building startups to Fortune 500 companies, bringing expertise across product design and manufacturing, finance, and marketing. And I'm thanking you all again for giving me the time today, and please help us connect to brands who are ready and willing to ditch plastic.
Thank you for that. It's amazing. Can you talk a little bit more about your sourcing?
Yeah.
You mentioned working with local farmers and composting partners. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are working with 5 factories overseas, all based in Asia Pacific. 3 years ago, we tried integrating sort of manufacturing practices within, and thought about fundraising for that sake, but it just didn't seem like the right fit for what we were trying to accomplish. So we're still manufacturing overseas. Our centralized location is in Miami. And the way it works is that local compost farmers are testing our products to make sure that they can accept these products into their operations. And then we're coming in as a sort of like a force into the market where not only we're introducing a solution, but we're bringing the farmers with us and extending these business opportunities to them. And so most of our clients are currently composting, although it's not sort of a statewide thing yet. But we're trying to introduce it as much as possible while helping business community as well.
Thank you.
You know, this is the problem.
This is the problem.
I just know that, you know, you're going to change the world if you can figure out how Americans anyway, you know, can figure out how to not have to drink water out of a plastic bottle.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, it's consumer behavior is probably one of the most challenging things that we are facing right now, because the solutions are there and the infrastructure is there to an extent. It's going to take time. It's going to take, a lot of it is going to be concentrated around policy. And so we are trying to do our very best to support our local policymakers and to drafting ordinances that are sort of contributing to reducing of plastics and introducing composting opportunities as well in the state of Florida. But you know, to give a short answer, in my opinion, it's going to take us another 5 to 10 years, and it's going to take a really aggressive policy on a state level and federal level.
Okay.
Well, I certainly agree with Carolyn on that. If you had told me 30 years ago that I would be paying to drink water out of a plastic bottle that was polluting the planet, I would have thought you were crazy. Yeah. But I did want to ask you about, you mentioned the idea of a sustainability partner when you're talking with your customer. Could you tell me a little bit more about how they react to it and why do they need sustainability partners?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are currently, in the last 3 years, we've learned a lot from our customers. I'll tell you where we started. So we started trying to build the most sustainable packaging product on the market. We quickly realized that this is not what our customers want or need. What our customers need, at least the luxury brands, the private schools, the government bodies, they want a good enough sustainable product, but they want data behind it. Because we're no longer at the stage where we can claim sustainability. We really have to explain what happens on the level of manufacturing. And so our goal, although we're not yet a data company, our goal in the next 5 years to become sophisticated around sort of our data collection processes and hopefully to integrate it into the software. And part of the money that hopefully we can win tonight will be integrated into that next stage for the company.
Thank you.
My question is to bounce off of that. How much are you spending on research and development, and who is primarily responsible for that?
So we're not actually spending on research and development. It's all internal team. So our R&D was done in the early stages, and that was my personal funds as a founder. It was a team of 2 back then. And one of the reasons why we decided not to sort of go after R&D type of company is because it was so expensive, and also what would it given us, right? Maybe we could come up with a material that was slightly better, but it would have taken millions of dollars and years in R&D. And my background is in product design and environmental science, and I just felt that neither our team had enough capacity to do this, nor did we have the funding. Mm-hmm. So we're just taking a different route on that end.
Excellent. One more question. You're working with clients like the Four Seasons. So tell us more about that workflow from the moment they become a client to offboarding.
Yeah, so Four Seasons reached out to us, and as you can imagine, brands like that, they have access to all sorts of packaging providers. And they reached out to a small team out of South Florida because they got to know us through a workshop that we facilitated on smart packaging technologies, and they just felt that we have enough insight and expertise on the topic to help them not only design the products, but also figure out how to integrate this new sustainable product into their overall goal for the year of reducing plastics, and again, what it would mean to their shareholders and how to communicate it to their customers. And so we sort of try to understand how much plastic is on site, what can we build and reduce, what kind of partners we can bring on board with us, such as local compost farmers. We've built custom products for them, and we actually even created products from a material slightly different than anything else we had done before, because they wanted something that nobody else had, in a way. We don't have a patent behind that sort of fiber combination, but that was their request. So everything from data collection to integrating our sustainability partners alongside with us to building custom products, and we continue servicing them they became our client in 2019. So it's been a while.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Well done. You ready for your next fact? Okay, because I think this is a really smart group, and if not y'all, then online for sure. So I'm going to combine two facts. One is, again, not surprising to us women, but women who have access to capital, that means that people have invested in them, have a 15 to 25% lower failure rate than men. Right? I mean, we already knew we were better then. Again, no disrespect, brother. But here's another fun fact. If US-based women businesses were their own country, they would have the 5th largest GDP in the world. Do you know if they're the 5th largest GDP, what are some of the countries that they would surpass? No. Sorry. No, definitely not China. But if we got the brothers and sisters to work with us, we might get there. We would be ahead of France. We would be ahead of the United Kingdom. And we would be ahead of Italy. That's pretty impressive, I would say. Okay, clearly, I like numbers. And so this next presenter is significant because 2 plus 2 is always, oh, damn. Let me try that again. 9 times 9 is always, look, I'm looking dead at you, and she just laughing at me like, it's not hard. I know you're feeling pressure, right? Let me try it. This is just for you. 3 times 3 is, now, see, there you go. Okay. Whew, I say that because people say I hate numbers, but they're the only thing that don't lie, right? Like American history changes depending on who's teaching to you. But 3 plus 3 is always 6. Right? I love it. Anyway, speaking of numbers, I'm thrilled. Well, actually, I didn't mess up because it's not numbers yet. My bad. No, I won't mess up the order. Okay, that's for the last presenter. I got so excited on my numbers. I'm so sorry. Okay, how many people here like to eat? Okay, great. How many of y'all got kids? Okay, yours must be new that you still screaming excitedly. But if you have kids or yourself, you know that allergies, everybody's gluten-free, milk-free, wheat-free, whatever. And you go to the store and I'm like, I got to go to one store, then I got to find a Whole Foods, then I got to find a Trader Joe. I ain't got time for all that. I don't know about you. So I want to introduce Safely Delicious. It is a mom making allergy-friendly snacks. Welcome Lisa to the stage.
All right. This is really happening. What? Okay, what now? Oh, I may need that. Okay. So before I get started, I'm going to share with you guys what HI-HERImpact has meant to me and how it's helped my business. So as I said, I'm Lisa Reagan, and I won the pitch competition with HI-HERImpact back in 2021 in Kansas City, but it was virtual. So the benefit of this is the judges this time get to actually try the snacks versus the first time we had to just show them on the screen. So, but HI-HERImpact has been more than a pitch competition to me. It has provided a positive platform to share with others the importance of inclusion when it comes to food allergies and the unique challenges people with food allergies are faced with.
It has also provided mentorship opportunities, networking, and meeting other women business owners, accesses to resources to help my business, in addition to increased visibility. I'm very thankful to be part of her impact. Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, there we go. Sorry. Okay. As a mom of 4 children who have multiple food allergies, I've been cooking allergen-free since 2004, not wanting my kids or any other kids with food allergies to feel the pain of being excluded and left out at school activities, special events. I would create snacks that looked and tasted similar to what the other kids were eating, but were still delicious and free of the food allergens they needed to avoid. Many years later, I started Safely Delicious. Food allergies in the United States are dramatically on the rise. 30% of children who have food allergies are allergic to more than one food. 1 in 13 children have food allergies, or roughly 2 in every classroom have food allergies. And up to 15 million Americans have food allergies, which includes 5.9 million children under the age of 18. There are 160 million shoppers in the United States who are seeking non-allergen foods. Of that number, 85 million of those shoppers are doing it for dietary restriction reasons, and the other 75 are for non-dietary reasons, such as religious or lifestyle choices. Safely Delicious offers a solution for those who are limited in what they can eat due to their food allergies. We manufacture, package, and sell one-of-a-kind allergy-friendly snacks that are free of the top 11 food allergens, gluten-free. They are low sodium, high in iron, no cholesterol, nothing artificial, no preservatives, and they are still delicious. Our target market is individuals that have food allergies, especially children, parents of children with food allergies, people who have celiac disease, brain spectrum disorders, GI health issues, and many other groups of people. Even though the ideal customer for Safely Delicious is going to be people with food allergies, our snacks are delicious for everyone to eat. Our customers come from either direct consumers, retail, wholesale, or distributor, and we acquire our customers on multiple channels, both offline and online. Safely Delicious products are competitively priced. We have multiple options in various sizes with plans to release more products in the future, and our margins will range anywhere from 40% to 78%, depending on the revenue channel. What sets us apart, we have no direct competition. No other company makes a rice-based snack bite that's free of the top 11 food allergens like Safely Delicious. And our snacks look and taste just like non-allergen snacks. Safely Delicious is bridging the gap between dietary restrictions and social inclusivity. Safely Delicious is more than a business. It is a labor of love that was born from my devotion as a mom. Safely Delicious was rapidly growing in its early years. However, then we had some challenges like many other businesses due to COVID and supply chain issues, but we have been bouncing back and our sales are growing and increasing again. However, we are needing to scale up this business in order to keep up now with this growing demand for products like ours. In order to do that, we need to increase our production and we need to move our company out of an 800 square foot space to a much larger commercial facility to make this possible. Our team consists of 3 of my 4 children, Elizabeth, Brennan, and Spencer. And they help with trade shows, special events. They help with production, packaging. They are key. They were my inspiration, and they're a key part of who my team is. And then we have Stephanie Willis, who's my business advisor, and Danielle Harrison, who is our financial advisor and accountant. In conclusion, we want everyone with food allergies to feel included, especially children. We want this to continue to be a possibility. Please help us continue to make this possible. Thank you for this opportunity, and we hope you will consider choosing Safely Delicious.
So could you tell me, going back to your marketing segments?
Yes.
You mentioned a number of them. What is your biggest segment currently, and what are you targeting as your next opportunity?
Well, currently, and that comes with part of like this growth opportunity that we want to see happen, is I had started having conversations with school districts and actually have an opportunity to be a vendor with the Kansas City, Missouri School District that is very interested in having our products in their schools. However, upon the discussion of what that might look like, we're needing to get ramped up a little bit in order to be able to handle the type of orders that we would be getting from them. We've also spoken with the Kansas City, Kansas School District. They're equally interested. So really, school districts, because our focus is mostly children. I mean, that's primarily, who, adults, we need it too. But, there's a lot to be said for the kids when they're with their little friends and they're at these parties and get-togethers and, having snacks that people eat, but everybody eats them and nobody's going, ooh, this tastes funny because it tastes different. Nobody ever knows the difference when you put it all out in a bowl. And that was key for me when I originally started making this stuff for my kids, almost 20 years ago to even now. And that's, really, I see that being as like our next big area that I really want to hit hard and get our products into the school districts because they want it and I want to do it. I just need a little help. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So as a parent of a child who had food allergies, and at the time, he's an adult now, I couldn't find anything. So I really do appreciate what you're doing. Thank you. But you mentioned you have no real direct competitors, but I'm sure to potential customers, they don't know that. They don't differentiate between what you do and what others do.
Right.
So how are you, what are some of the struggles you've had, or how are you trying to differentiate yourself? I mean, do you use your background story as a differentiator, or what are the levers that you use to truly stand out?
That's a huge part of it. As you'll see on the back of our packaging, I have like a little mini story that is signed by me that kind of explains being a mom and my kids with food allergies and that sort of thing. That's my inspiration. That's the story behind Safely Delicious. So I think that's where we also connect a lot with our customers or even potential customers, that feeling of, this isn't just a business from some other large entity that's just trying to fill in a gap because food allergy seems to be niche right now, or everybody's trying to come up with an allergy-free product. And then that being said, our products, they are different. I mean, there is nobody else. I mean, you will find products that are free of multiple food allergens, but it is a small percentage that are going to be free of all top 11. And my kids were allergic to 6 of those. I mean, that was my thing back then, back in those early 2000s, gluten, dairy, peanut, tree nut, soy, and egg. Well, where was I going to find like some yummy snack for a party unless I made it for them? So, over the years, as you mentioned, there's a lot more companies that are coming up with products, that have all these free allergen-free options. But again, what differentiates us though is, people who buy it or eat it or will hear about it, for those maybe that didn't have food allergies growing up and were familiar with Puppy Chow or Muddy Buddies or those kind of snacks, then they find out they have allergies or now their kids have allergies. Like this has been like, they're like, oh my gosh, it's like childhood memory. I'm so excited. I get to have something I used to have when I was a kid and can't have anymore because I have GI health issues or whatever it might be, or they got diagnosed with celiac. So that's been really awesome for our business that way.
Well, these are fantastic. I have eaten the entire
Yes, they're
pack.
delicious.
Thank you. Thank you.
And they do taste just as good as any other snack. But
Thank you.
where can you buy them on a shelf? Are you in grocery stores?
Yes, our
in any
business
national
is, yes. So
distributors?
a few different, where you can find our products is rather extensive in that. So in Kansas City area, there are multiple grocery store chains that carry it there locally in Kansas City, around surrounding Kansas City, through Missouri and through Kansas. But then we also have our products are sold through a website called fair.com. It's a wholesale platform. And so we have companies, businesses all over the country that order our products through there. And then we have our online website where people can order there, or if somebody's an Amazon shopper, they can find our stuff on Amazon. It's just, we're kind of in, whatever.
But you're not in a national or regional food chain yet.
We are. So like in Kansas City, we're in Ball's Food, Cosentino's, and those are the 2 major grocery store chains in our area.
Come back to Michigan because we have a lot of good.
I would love to. We'll work on that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Time. Okay, we had some people in the front row that want to know how they get a goodie bag, Lisa, so I don't, These are real, so I feel like, do you have to take these back?
The little guys are for my fellow finalists.
Okay, what about these right here?
And the big ones are for some family and friends. But I'm sure I can send.
Can Mary of Ford Motor Company Fund be a friend? Okay, she'll make sure, okay. Okay, there you go. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa, I appreciate it. Didn't mean to put you on the spot, sorry. See, entrepreneurs are always prepared. Always prepared, I love that. So now, I have to go back where I started. If you love numbers, here's our last presenter. But I got another stat for you, because I want to make sure you're well educated. So today, over 8 million women-owned firms have an economic impact of $3 trillion that translate into the creation or maintenance of 23 million jobs. That's 16% of all the U.S. jobs. That's pretty damn impressive. The other thing that I would say that people think, oh, well, money is hard to get and I don't know if I want to invest in you. What's really significant about this whole entire program is that lots of times when I meet these entrepreneurs, they are the sole founder. Many times they got jobs, they're managing their kids, they're taking care of everybody, we're the sandwich generation, taking care of our parents. But the interesting thing is if you are a solopreneur, you're probably capped at about $24,000, maybe $34,000 annual recurring revenue. As soon as you hire one more person, the potential automatically increases and you can earn over $350,000 annual revenue. And so it's extremely important that we understand it's important to invest in them with our finances, but also as customers because they are the ones creating the jobs for the future. So I really appreciate your patience. Last but not least, Black Magic. Black, see I was so stuck on the math. Black Girl Magic. Woo! Give it up for Brittany. Okay, once again, I don't know, Mary, I don't know if we can pull out a kit, because the judges got some kits. We'll see what we can do. Oh, there we go.
So before I get started, I just want to share what her impact has been to me. So like the lab drawer, her impact was the very first pitch competition I ever won when Black Girl Magic was just an idea in my head. And thanks to her impact, I was able to purchase a subscription box bootcamp course so I could get going and stop researching and actually start doing. And also beta test our box with families all over the United States, which allowed us to have a successful launch and to work out the kinks before we presented the product to the rest of the world. Okay. Raise your hand if you have ever heard someone say, I'm not a math person. Well, you're not alone. 93% of American adults experience math anxiety. Many of them got when they were kids. And math anxiety has a much harsher impact on females and people of color. What's even worse, due to the pandemic, we are dealing with the worst math scores this country has ever seen. Studies indicate that these math losses could equate to nearly $1 trillion in future earnings. And we're here to solve for that. Greetings, my name is Brittany Rhodes. I'm a 20-year math tutor, a math degree holder, a Carnegie Mellon MBA, and founder and general mathager of Black Girl Magic. Let's dive into how we're tackling this nearly $1 trillion issue. Math anxiety not only keeps girls out of STEM, but a wide variety of other careers and majors, leading to decreased career options and limited earning potential. These pervasive racial and gender gaps in STEM are affecting up to 7.5 million Black girls. So how do you solve for math anxiety? You build math confidence. And my solution, Black Girl Magic, does just that. Black Girl Magic is the first and only monthly subscription box designed to increase math confidence and decrease math anxiety in girls on a 3rd through 8th grade math level. Wrong way. Speaking of math, compared to last year, several of our key metrics are up, signaling positive market traction and year-end path to profitability. We expect these percentages to grow as we focus on schools and groups. We give our customers everything they need from multiple angles, no pun intended. And this is just one of several things that sets us apart from our competition. We focus on parents and educators of girls between the ages of 8 and 13 who value math confidence and representation. Our value proposition is simple yet powerful. We are the only monthly subscription box designed to instill math confidence in girls in a world that tells them that math and STEM is not for them. Basic math is the foundation of STEM and is crucial for innovation and career growth in our tech-driven world. We also offer an engaging, culturally relevant, cross-curricular opportunity. Our scalable subscription-based model fits both institutional and individual budgets with positive unit economics. Our team is uniquely equipped to solve this problem because we bring in over 80 years of direct experience in education, plus my MBA and math degree allow us a competitive edge to navigate. So won't you join me in sprinkling some Black girl magic and helping our girls build the critical math skills they need to succeed in class today and society tomorrow. Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the 360 marketing plan, how you are attracting your customers as well as retaining them as they grow and develop more intelligently in the math space?
Absolutely. So for our B2C audience, we currently retain them. We have started doing monthly webinars. So every single box that we create features a different Black woman mathematician. So all of our boxes are based on the theme created by this Black woman mathematician. For example, our very first mathematician was Dr. Gladys West. Has anybody heard of Dr. Gladys West? A few people. She's the mathematician whose calculations helped invent GPS. So what we do is we take these women and we invite them to come back on Zoom and do webinars with our girls, and we do actual math activities with them to show them the relevancy and utility of math that they've already gotten in the box, but also to kind of lift it up out of the box, so to speak, and let them see the mathematicians in action. We also, for our B2B audience, we are getting ready. So we're getting ready to be in the Royal Oak School District. We'll be servicing them with 15 subscriptions for the entire school year. And so what we're going to be doing with them is offering opportunities for them to have me come in as a role model and speak to their students, and also provide opportunities for them to upsell with workshops.
Excellent. What does each box cost you to put together?
So we just relaunched last week, and we rolled out a tiered subscription plan. So now instead of just the one box, we have 3 options. We have a digital subscription, which is between $16.95 and $19.95 per month, a value subscription, which is between $24.95 and $29.95 a month, and then our premium subscription, which is between $44.95 and $49.95 a month.
And how much margin is built into that?
So we'll see with these new tiers, because we just rolled them out last week, but with our boxes, we're around 40% margin, and we'll be able to increase that with volume.
So do you see yourself really focusing on the institutional versus the individual customers going forward in the near term?
Yes, that's our plan, because schools are clamoring for resources because the math scores are literally the worst the country has ever seen since we started tracking math scores in the 70s. And I don't know if you all have seen, even on TikTok, there was a teacher who just went viral talking about how he is a 7th grade teacher and he's getting students who are on a 4th, 3rd, 2nd grade level in math, and we all know that math is cumulative, so he's still trying to teach things that they should have learned 6, 7, 8 years ago and get caught up. But for us, our boxes work really well as math centers or math stations, small groups, differentiated instruction where you're trying to teach to so many different levels. We have the opportunity to fill in those gaps and even help identify areas that kids may need additional support in, but also for the quote unquote fast learners, this could be something for them to do if the teachers are focused on a different, student group at that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you that math is the foundation.
Absolutely.
Of what we call STEM or STEAM. So tell me, have you investigated any kind of partnering relationship? Because once again, this is getting to be a crowded marketplace as far as your marketing. So what have you done in that arena? Have you looked at partnering or any other kinds of arrangements?
So yes, we've partnered with the Girl Scouts of Southeast Michigan. We've done several workshops with them, and they've also purchased several boxes from us. We see a really great opportunity with the Girl Scouts as a whole because several of our boxes, as I mentioned, they're based on a theme. So to date, we have done, math is in everything. So we've done real estate. What you have in front of you, have a photography and math box, you have an art and math box, you have a sleepover party and math box. We've done real estate, we've done fashion, we've done space. So I could just keep going on and on. But the point I'm making is a lot of our boxes align with the Girl Scouts badge program. So the girls that need to get fill their badge requirements, they can do so with our boxes. And so I was a Girl Scout for 12 years, all through childhood. So we're looking to leverage just the relationship we already have with the Southeast Michigan Girl Scouts and take that on a corporate level. And that's just one example. You know, there are so many opportunities. As I mentioned, we're the only box that's focused on math. Math is something that you have to have, whether you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be a pastry chef, you want to be a physicist. You cannot do any STEM major without doing a whole bunch of math. And what happens is kids get so excited because now there's so many STEM and STEAM opportunities, and they're having all this fun, and then they get to college or to the trade, or they want to go to the military. You got to take math, and they get to college, and they're like, wait a minute. I didn't know I had to do all this math for this major. I'm out of here. And then we lose them, but where they end up, they still got to do math too. So we want to make sure that they have psychology, I don't care what it is, you know, you got to do stats, econ. So our goal is that they have that basic math foundation. That's why we focus on 3rd through 8th grade, because that's where the foundation is set, that it does not keep them from doing the things that they want to do, from having the life that they want to have, and from having the finances they want to have.
Over there. Thank you.
I may have messed up the magic part, but the black girl part is real. So I appreciate that. And my last stat of the day is that right now, if anybody has read the city report that they put out a couple years ago that talked about $17 trillion was lost in this country because of systemic racism. Well, if you think about that in the context of entrepreneurship, because of the systemic challenges that Black and brown entrepreneurs face, we have not supported 1 million businesses that could have been supported. So we have foregone 1 million businesses. If we had invested in people, same as Black, between white and Hispanic, we would actually have 9 million more jobs than we have right now, and $300 billion more in our economy. So I want to note that that was very much part of her impact at the onset of not just getting women, but making sure we represented the entire diversity and rainbow of women. So for those of you on screen, if you can see people put up their phones, they just all ready. So as I mentioned earlier, we have a way that you can vote. So this is your QR code to vote for your favorite audience award. What we're going to do right now is we're going to have the judges leave and go somewhere secret in this building. Not even Katie knows where it is. Nobody can find them. Take your stuff. You're going to eat well. You're going to play some math games. You just make sure you come back, okay, because we ain't got all day. And then what we're going to do, we're going to set the stage, and we're going to have a panel discussion led by none other than Jennifer Lau. People know Jennifer Lau from Detroit. Okay, that's because y'all ain't had her pies. Let me explain something to you. So I had the privilege to meet Jennifer, like 4 or 5 years ago. And she was pitching this thing called Lush Yummy's Pie Company. And honestly, I was like, do we need more pies? And then I had a chance to say, I was like, oh, we don't need more pies. We just need this pie. And she had gone on to be successful. She has a commercial kitchen. I know she'll be working her whole family in that business. But it's an amazing business. But I think what's important is when we put together these small business programs, no disrespect to Mary and the entire 14, but it's helpful if you actually live the journey to be able to help guide the journey. And so right now, Jennifer is also an entrepreneurship ecosystem specialist at the Ford Fund, making sure that this work that Ford is doing continues. So you will get a chance to meet her in a second. You get like a 1-minute break while they put these, and then we'll be right back. But thank you all for being attentive and tolerating my facts. Can we go? Oh, yeah, you can go ahead.
I don't think Mom. Oh, it's on. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Oh, that was wet.
Damn, you know, that's like the 12th time we didn't give him to get it right. I don't understand.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, y'all know I used to be a teacher too.
Uh-oh.
I've lived a lot of lives, y'all. And so I really love participation, okay? Thank you so much for that amazing introduction. I'm appreciative to be here and being a part of the Ford Fund team now. And now I get to sit with you ladies. We have Ms. Shalonda Armstrong here. She's a managing partner with 100 KM Ventures. And we have Ms. Melissa Bradley. You're amazing, first of all. Founder and managing partner with 1863 Ventures. And I just want to say kudos to you for all of the work that you continue to do for women entrepreneurs. I'm a direct recipient of that, and I do appreciate you. Melissa, what she didn't tell y'all is that when I first met her, I tracked her down. We were in Atlanta, and I was like, ma'am, I've applied for these pitch competitions so many times. You remember that?
I do.
And I said, I don't understand why I have not been selected. I know my application is strong. And Melissa said, well, let's find some time. And she was so nice about it, and I appreciate that. So today we're going to be having a panel discussion with you two ladies. And first, I want to start out with why do you feel that it is important to support social entrepreneurs? Because I think this term, social entrepreneur, has come up so many times. And of course, HI-HERImpact is social entrepreneurship driven. So I'd love to understand, why do you all feel that it's important to support these social entrepreneurs?
So I'll just start off by saying, why can't it just be entrepreneurship? Why does it have to have social in front of it? Because I feel like every time you put the word social, people try to minimize it, right? At the end of the day, it's just entrepreneurship. It's like any other business, and so it does need to be supported, and people need to lean into that. Why is it necessary? Because that is how capitalism works. And for right or wrong, this is how we have been able to sustain as a country, and everyone should be part of what we call, you know, that journey, the American journey, or whatever that we want to call that. And I feel like that is why it's important to support social entrepreneurship. But I'll let you go.
Yeah, no, I want to totally echo that. I was on the call earlier today with somebody. We were having this debate around language because I think language is really important. So I want to separate out like what we call it and what is the impact. You know, an entrepreneur is successful if they're able to solve a problem. And I think the beauty about this concept, whether we call it or not, of social entrepreneurship or entrepreneurship for the common good, is that if we can solve, which I guess was a problem, but like how many companies do we need that are going to deliver food from point A to your house? Like how much food you going to eat in a damn day? And so I think that we have figured out how entrepreneurs can solve a problem. Let's take it to the next level and figure out how we can solve really big, wicked problems, right? Like around climate change, or around racism or sexism. And I think what's interesting, and I will say why I initially struggled with this title, is because as a black person, I only knew entrepreneurs who were trying to solve social problems, right? It was innate to our community to say, hey, I want to start this business not just because I want to be wealthy, I want to put so-and-so on. I want to help out the brothers and sisters around the corner. So I do think that within certain cultures and communities, this idea of entrepreneurship to bring people along has been extremely important. But I do think for the mainstream, particularly in the investment community, I do recognize that we have to make a slight segmentation, because sometimes while these businesses are clearly profitable, the run rate may be a little bit longer, the time to profitability may be a little bit longer, because they're much more intentional of not just cranking out cash, but actually cranking out impact. And let's be honest, we see a lot of companies cranking out cash, but they ain't making no impact whatsoever.
That's true. No, that's a really good point. That's a really good point. So what would you say, you know, we're at a pitch competition, obviously. And I know there's some entrepreneurs in the room as well. And so, you know, I'd love to know, what do you feel are some determining factors when deciding if a business should receive funding or not, right? because I know we have like these rubrics, right? Of course. But I think in the back of our mind, as people, when we heard the pitches, like, man, I think I know, right, what businesses should receive like this amount of funding, or I know maybe that's just how my brain works. But I love to know what are some of those determining factors that you all feel are like, what make you say this business needs funding versus a business that you may feel doesn't need as much funding?
Yeah, so I'll start off with, depends on what type of funding we're talking about, right? Not every business needs venture-backed funding. Yes. I know that it seems sexy to get venture dollars, but not every business requires that. Venture dollars is when you need to go fast, right? And you also need to understand that the moment you take a check from a venture capital firm, everything changes, okay? It's because that capital is in someone else, is part of someone else's pension fund. They have to return that capital to their investors. So you don't get to, take your time with scaling the business. It is to go fast. So that's one thing. There's other aspects of fundings, right? There's, various programs with SBA. There's a lot of non-dilutive capital that you can go after. So I think it's also just understanding the type of funding that you want to go after. And then determining kind of who gets funding, it's based on where you are in your business, right? Do you have product market fit? Do you understand your customer? How's your sales cycle? There's a lot of different things that go in the criteria depending on the type of funding that you're looking for.
Ditto, and I think for me personally, I've been an investor for 28 years, and I think there's three things that I look for. I want to make sure that it can be a viable business, which means it has to be able to make money, so I want to understand product market fit and what is the growth potential of your customer base. The second thing is I want to make sure you understand the numbers. I joke a lot around can people add and subtract, but a lot of people don't know their numbers. And so it was very impressive today to see people understood their ratios and had a firm grasp on the growth trajectory of their business. So that's extremely important. And then I would say, who the heck is the founder? I mean, particularly from a venture capital or an investor perspective, I'm about to be in a long-term relationship with you, at least 5 to 10 years. And so I really have to like you. I have to respect you, right?
It's like a marriage.
You know what? I'm gonna be married 20 years next year. So and I remember them first 10 years. It was like, whoa, we get to know each other every day, one month. So I think, and I recognize that they may be watching, but I still love you though. But it's real, right? We're gonna be up your butt. We're gonna wanna know what your financials are, how you're doing. And so it has to be somebody that I feel comfortable having a positive conversation with and a negative conversation with. But most importantly, I trust they're going to call me when stuff's going sideways before it's already falling off the cliff, because we have a mutual level of trust and respect, and we're collectively trying to get the business to move forward.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I think those are great points there. What advice would you ladies give to entrepreneurs, speaking of money, about managing their finances? I feel like, a lot of times, as being an entrepreneur myself, and I've had this conversation, these organizations, and bless their heart, they're amazing. They'll give you these big checks, but then it's like, here's $50,000, go be great. Right. And I think, the conversation is not had on, properly using those funds and being able to, utilize it to grow your business. And I guess I love to, talk about that, because I think it's a conversation that you would think would be talked about a little bit more. But I feel like we talk about the glitz and the glam, like, I know I love the pitches, but it's like, that was such a great pitch. But it's like, now what's happening after that? That's right. So I love to talk about the finance end of businesses and being able to manage that.
So I just want to share one statistic, and then I'll pass it to you. So at HI-HERImpact, we do a lot of research because I'm also a professor at Georgetown. And we just did a research study called Beyond 5, because when COVID hit, everybody's like, we lost 50% of all black businesses. And I was like, mine are still standing. Something's not right. And we realized is that because we lack access to capital, we tend to have these cyclical business where I work one week and then I go drive Uber the next week. Or I keep my full-time job, or my full-time job becomes a part-time job, and then this is my full-time. And I think that lack of access to capital has caused us, I would say on a personal level, to make some bad decisions. So what we found in our research study is that while 50% of all businesses in this country fail within 5 years, black entrepreneurs last at least 8.5 years. So we are some resilient mofos. However, that resilience does not correlate to wealth. It does not, if we last that long, we're not getting any more capital for it. We're not as profitable. And so one of the concerning things is that we saw entrepreneurs pulling out their pension funds. They're leveraging their homes. And I am down with you feeling good about yourself. But what that means is we have to be careful when we say entrepreneurship is a wealth creator, because if you do not invest, particularly in Black and brown entrepreneurs at the onset, you actually run the risk of undermining their wealth, and then there really is not a lot they can do because the opportunity cost, the earned interest, and all those things are gone.
Great.
That was nicely
That was
put.
good.
I'm not going to say that as eloquently. You have to be capital efficient. And it is hard. It is not sexy. No, you don't need the retreat out in the woods with your team, every 6 months. You don't need to pay for that, right? You really do need to focus on how you can extend your runway. The bull market that we experienced for the last 12 or 13 years is over. So now fundraising is going to be much harder, no matter what path you take, and you need to be more capital efficient about what you're doing to sustain and scale. I can't harp on enough where I see folks and I say, hey, who's managing, your books, and, they don't have an accountant. Well, then how do you know things are balanced, right? And it's a hope and a prayer. A hope and a prayer is not going to get you far. Right? So you really do need to understand your numbers and understand your sales cycle. Because even if you're capital efficient, but you don't understand what it takes to get your new customers in the door, you are eventually just going to run out of runway. So.
Yes.
That was great. Thanks, ladies. That's awesome. I'll loop it back to the pitches. I thought we had some great.
I thought they were phenomenal personally.
Right.
I was like, how?
That was good.
And let me just say, they were so much better than the first time we saw them. I mean, they were good the first time, clearly, but they were so much better.
No, I've been to a lot of pitch competitions, obviously.
Yes.
And I've personally participated in 22, and I've won 14. And I've judged several. And I mean, when I tell you, these are some of the best that I've seen.
They are.
So I love to hear from you all too, what do you think makes a really strong pitch, right? I know they had 3 minutes, I think.
That's correct. That's all they had.
So what would
Otherwise,
you
we'd be here
say?
till midnight.
Right. So what would you say makes a truly strong pitch?
Tell me a story quickly about the problem you're trying to solve and how you're going to solve it, how you're going to make money, and be passionate about it.
Yep.
If you can just do that quickly, that to me gets my attention, and I want to know more, right? So.
Yeah, I think for me, it's where you're trying to go, what's your vision, who are your customers, and why are they going to be loyal to you time over time? Do you understand your numbers, and why are you the best person to run this business?
Yep, that's good. I think those are great too. I like when.
Why do you think you won?
I was in me.
Yeah, because you said if y'all heard, she said that she won 14 out of 22.
Yeah.
That's a pretty daggone good batting average. So why do you think you won? Besides the fact that people got to taste the product, which is
they got to taste the product. Some competitions will not let me bring samples,
unfair.
and I felt some type of way about that.
I'm sure I could tell. I think we were one of them, so I could tell.
Okay, right. I brought you pie today.
Yes, I appreciate that.
I do have a pie. I do
Good.
have a pie.
I think, as a teacher of pitching, we got to teach yesterday we had a pre-event yesterday. We had her impactful workshop where we had an opportunity. We had some attendees in the back. And so I had the opportunity to teach what your pitch should include. And I personally enjoyed it. Did y'all think it was great? Did y'all like it? We received some really good feedback. And I think for me, what I like to see is the story, yes. And something someone told me a long time ago, they said, when you're on stage, you're on a stage. Mm-hmm. So perform. Give them a show. Because if you put me to sleep, you've lost me.
Yep.
Right? And so it's the same concept. I've seen some really boring pitches, and I mean that in the best. And the businesses were probably so good, y'all. They were probably so good, but they lost me. And and this is a digital age. Once you lose me, I might you might have lost me to Instagram. I might be in my DM somewhere, and and it's unfortunate. And so I think just capturing people and hooking them in right in the beginning.
Yep.
I think focusing on your numbers. Talked about that numbers. The profit margin. I saw a lot of ladies touch on that today. Showing like where you're going. So I think that's really important. Like because you're kind of like telling this story, and you want to take people on a journey from like where you started to where you would like to end up, and also just wrapping it up by like being really specific on your asks. Right? Because, and I mentioned that in a workshop yesterday, like a lot of people at the end of their pitch, they'll say, I want to use my money for marketing. Right? And it's like, but what is marketing? Like, that's so vague. Like, are we talking about social media marketing? Are we talking about like, exposure for like national exposure with news outlets? Like what T-shirts, what are we doing? And so I think that is really important to be as specific as possible. So I think just those are some things that I like to see.
Yeah.
In pitching for sure. Because sometimes people they'll lose.
I'm telling you. Look, you had people make periods, sexy. I mean, I'm just saying.
Right?
You had composting being interesting. I'm not just saying. That was pretty damn good.
I feel like I learned things.
Hey,
I think that's great too.
I'm up here feeling awful about this plastic bottle right here.
Right? Like, I have my bottle.
But this is all we were given. We didn't have a choice.
We had no choice.
I feel like I have a choice now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought it was some great pitches. And she did. She made feminine products sound great. I learned about science, math.
Yep.
I don't have allergies, but I feel bad for the people who did. I said, oh, wow, okay. This is a thing. We need this. But no, those are great. Okay, so I know I have one more question for you ladies. So my last question is, what do you think? You talked about numbers a lot, and I thought that was great, Melissa. So I love to know, what do you feel are making businesses fail? Because everybody wants to talk about succeed. I want to do great, but let's talk about what makes them fail, because I think, if we can talk about those pitfalls and really kind of avoid them, because I feel like that's what a lot of other businesses that are really, really doing really well, like they have those conversations. I personally, when I first started my business, I used to listen to, anybody heard of Guy Raz, How I Built This? Mm-hmm. I don't know why. I love those stories. That's so nerdy, but I can like sit and listen to those stories. I've listened to a couple of them like twice. But I think it's really important to understand why other businesses have failed. Yep. So I love to hear you all's perspective, and I know you work with a lot of entrepreneurs.
The quickest way for your business to fail is you do not talk to your customers.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I don't understand why you would not want to get all the feedback possible from your customers about what they love, what they don't, how to tweak certain things. But if you are so heads down in the business and you forget to talk to your customers will forget about you.
Yes. Yes.
How often I was just going to say, how often do you feel they should be speaking to them?
It depends on the business, right? But you should have a regular cadence when you're checking in with your customers to get their feedback, and it should be easy to get the feedback from them. So, whether that's focus groups, whether that's surveys, you should be collecting that data and always looking over what the customers are saying and how it's evolving over time.
I think I'll just stick with the numbers because I think it's interesting and it's important. I think people run their businesses in the ground because people don't acknowledge how hard it is. Right? We talk about what does it mean to be a founder versus a CEO. As a founder, you just run around trying to do stuff. As a CEO, you understand your job is to really make sure the business goes from point A to point B, which means you're laser focused. And I think what happens is people get caught up and I got to sell, and they don't pay attention to the numbers.
Yeah.
And they look up and go, oh, shoot. You don't want to log, you feel like if you don't log into your bank account, it's going to tell you something positive. And so when you finally log in, you go, oh, snap, we're about to run out of money next week. And so I think that there's so much to focus on that, and I think particularly, let me say, for women and people of color, money has such an emotional connection. I'm not trying to be depressed today. Yeah. I'm just trying to keep on. And so I just think it's a matter of really having the confidence to prioritize that my numbers and talking to people, because I think both of those, right, create a sense of emotion. Nobody wants to hear your product ain't jack. Nobody wants to see red. But those are all just data points in a moment in time, and so we've got to overcome the fear to say that information is actually going to fuel our growth, not stop our growth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think 1863 Ventures does a good job with that
try.
too. I remember going through like those online trainings once I completed the program. So kudos to you for really recognizing that.
Thank you.
Well, I think this was great. We're right at time. Look at that. Numbers.
We're on those numbers.
See, look at that. Look at
We
that.
are right at time. I enjoyed speaking with you, ladies. Would
Thank
you like to
you.
close with any remarks or advice?
I'm gonna let you go.
Okay.
Because I always feel like you always.
No. So I just want to say two things. One, I want to acknowledge Jennifer because we've had many conversations at all hours of the night. And I just want to congratulate you that you are still standing, that Yes Yummies is still the bomb diggity pie. And I know the value you're going to bring to this company and helping them really get this entrepreneurship pillar right. So I want to give you your flowers right there. And then I also want to give Shalonda her flowers. We haven't known each other long, but we know about each other because, we have our own little underground railroad in the Black investment community. And I think what Shalonda pointed out earlier, but she didn't finish that story, and hopefully it's okay that I finish that story for her, is that not only does she have a fund, but when we have funds, we have to get money from other people. So we're like just a different level of entrepreneur like yourself. And much like you all, right, nobody wants to give us money unless we're willing to put our own. So I just want to acknowledge the number of entrepreneurs that Shalonda has invested in Detroit and all over the country with her own personal money to prove that investing in high-growth companies, irrespective of gender and race, is critical to her profitability and to the economy. So I want to give you your flowers.
Thank you. And the reason I wanted to go last is because if you guys are not familiar with Melissa Bradley, she is often called the OG. And because she has been doing this before it was cool, before it was sexy, and she has been so resilient through all of the craziness that comes with being an investor, and has been such an example for not only myself, but every other emerging manager across the globe, honestly, because she has done things that you guys have no idea, like how hard it is to not only get in this business, but sustain, invest in companies, build these type of partnerships. And this is all before anyone knew what venture capital was. So I just want to give you your flowers.
Okay, thanks, ladies.
Right. Yeah, come on. Because I don't want to take my clothes off again. I feel like we're going to be R-rated at home. Making the big announcement? Well, we both are, right? Oh, is this? Awesome. Oh, that's the end. Okay, yes. Oh, look at that. Oh, wait, no. Okay, well, I'm going to let somebody else. Okay, let's start here. So a reminder, I know, right? $5,000 for audience choice. Thank you all online and in person who participated. $15,000 for third place, $25,000 for second place, and $50,000 for first place, which, let's be clear, is not chump change. But let me do the math here. Let me do the math. How many people pitched? How many people pitched? See, y'all ain't paying attention. 5 companies pitched. 5 companies pitched, and 6 people pitched. Woo! Yeah. Told y'all, who said reading is fundamental? Woo! And I want to say that, if people know me, everybody worked hard, and everybody is killing it. So on behalf of 1863, we're going to make sure that nobody goes home a loser. Now, we don't have Ford money, so we're going to do a little bit less, but we're going to make sure that everybody goes home with something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the companies that did not get a prize, and my team's going to be like, what the hell? But we're just going to tell our VP of Finance that we're going to give these folks the Melissa Bradley Honorable Mention money. I'm sure there's a category in there somewhere. Oh, no. And they will each get $2,500. And the first, this may come out of Bradley's personal pocket, is Lean Orb. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you so much. They got to get their lovely pictures. Okay. And then the second Bradley/1863 award goes to Safely Delicious. Yay. Thank you. Sure. As a mom, I couldn't let you go home empty-handed. Okay. Y'all want to hear the 3 people first, or you want to hear y'all voted for first? What y'all want to hear?
Yes.
Oh, y'all want to know what y'all... Oh, look, she's like, I'm sitting here. I want to know what we did. Okay, all right. Okay, the audience choice for $5,000. We have a... We do? Oh, come on. Oh, not just the drum roll. Look, we got checks. We got checks. Look at that. We got checks. See, look at that. Look, and Ford Motor Company signed it. There you go. The audience choice goes to Black Girl Math Jack. Yeah. Yes, you have to stand with the check. All right. So you can carry that home, because we ain't taking that back on the plane. Okay, now we're going to do third place, and that's $15,000. Feel free to buy us some dinner when this is over, yo. Okay, third place, $15,000, goes to Black Girl Math Jick. Great job. Great job. No, it's her. It's her. It's her. It's her. I feel like you got a round of drinks at least. Like you got 1 round of drinks. That's all I got to say. Okay. Okay, this is $25,000. You got the second and third round of drinks. That's all I got to say. This is just for Mary and me. The second place for $25,000. Y'all ready? I'm not hearing the drum roll. Okay, there we go. The lab drawer. Congratulations, well done. All right now, congratulations.
And just think, I mentioned
See, look at that. Awesome, awesome. Okay, big drum roll, come on. That was still a little whack because we need to be heard in all the cities that we've been in. So let's try it again. You ready? Okay, that's better. First place, $50,000, family. Don't hurt yourself. Congratulations.
You could be in the middle of this.
All right. Well, before we go, I just want to say thank you to everybody. Okay, to the Family Fan Club. / family team, family cousins, whatever. First of all, I just want to say thank you. I know that while it is a Thursday night, you could have been anywhere, so we are deeply grateful that you're here. The other piece is that this is not just about those who are on stage, but please hang around, recept, get some beverages and food, and check out the entrepreneurs who are out there in the corner, who are displaying, who are here. They are the best of Detroit, so please give them some love. And then allow me to finally, I want to thank all the judges for being here. Again, I know you could have been anywhere. I know this wasn't a tough choice. I want to give a shout out to Campbell Marketing for making all this happen. I know it was a beautiful space, but this was even more beautiful. And last but not least, I want to thank my team, Kayla, Adjua, and Rodney. Y'all killed it. And Mary, thank you.
Well, and honestly, we have not bragged enough about Melissa and 1863 Ventures, who we feel incredibly just so honored to partner with. I mean, without you, I see you in action. This is my first time seeing her in action because I've only ever done it on Zoom. And she's so relatable and she's so amazing. I can see why you have been such a OG for a very long time. So anyway, thank you for coming. On behalf of the Port Fund, we're so proud of the winners, and go get some food and have a great night.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much.